Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill had always been fascinated by the woods behind their neighborhood. They had heard stories of a cabin deep in the forest, a place where strange things were said to happen, but they never believed any of it until the day they decided to explore the woods for themselves. The deeper they ventured into the forest, the more the world around them seemed to warp and to twist. The sky grew darker and the trees seemed to close in around them, as if alive and watching their every move. The sound of chirping birds and rustling leaves gave way to an eerie silence, and the air grew colder. As they continued to walk, they noticed a structure, an old cabin, something a little familiar, yet very strange. As they approached the cabin, they could feel a sense of malevolence emanating from the dilapidated structure. The windows were boarded up, and strange symbols were etched into the wood. But despite their growing unease and against their better judgment, they decided to enter the cabin. Inside, they were met with a scene of utter chaos. Furniture was overturned and smashed, and the symbols on the walls seemed to writhe and twist in the dim light. The smell of decay was overwhelming, and a sense of dread washed over them. They could feel something watching them, something ancient, something that made their skin crawl. As they turned to leave, they heard a voice whispering in their ears. It was a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, a voice that whispered of unspeakable horrors and eternal darkness. Without hesitation, they ran as fast as they could, but the wood seemed to stretch out endlessly, and the voice followed them every step of the way. They could feel the presence of something evil closing in on them, something that wanted to consume them completely. After running for what felt like an eternity, they finally made it back to their neighborhood. But the memory of that cabin and the voice haunted them for the rest of their lives. They never spoke of what happened in the woods, but the fear never left them. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched and that they were not alone. Years passed and the kids grew older, but the memory of that cabin in the woods never faded. They knew that whatever malevolent force they had stumbled upon that day was still out there, waiting for its next victims. That day they were lucky. They got away. But in the darkness of those woods, a figure cloaked in shadows watches them, waiting for the right moment to claim them as its own.